This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings everyone and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. As the world is looking with horror at the terrible events in Los Angeles, the wildfires, which have caused already the loss of life and the destruction of thousands upon thousands of buildings. And of course, they also look at that with a terrible understanding of the incompetence of the California government under Governor Newsom. There's another wildfire burning in Germany. And most people did not see that, do not see that, don't understand the terrible consequences that wildfire will probably have. Now let me begin with an article which was published by Bild Online on January 3, talking about that much is wrong in Germany. And it says this: if you had told me a few years ago that almost 40 injured police officers and 400 arrests on New Year's Eve in Berlin alone wouldn't trigger a major political debate, I would not have thought it possible. People notice that something is wrong when there are street battles and attacks on emergency doctors on a happy day like New Year's Eve, when Christmas markets have to be protected with concrete barriers, when a visit to the outdoor pool is no longer possible without bag searches and security teams, if you no longer feel safe in the city center or on the bus. Does this sound like the United States of America? You bet. The article goes on to say, people are smarter than some politicians and authorities believe, who don't want to say what many of these problems have to do with. That is, with certain young men who came to Germany illegally and in large numbers from Islamist-influenced countries, and they have a different relationship to violence, to women, Jews, homosexuals, and obviously also to our state. But the bitterest thing is not the violence itself, but the feeling that it has no consequences. How do our police officers feel who arrest dozens of criminals who are not even officially allowed to be in the country, but who are always released, just like the United States? And this will have, and already has had, terrible consequences. But the hypocrisy of German politicians and the mass media, as the same can be said about the United States, was pointed out very convincingly in an article by Berliner Zeitung on December 30, 2024, saying this: after Elon Musk's guest article in the Welt am Sonntag, in which he promoted the AfD, the right-wing party in Germany, the capital's political media complex exploded in convulsions of hatred. It was illegal interference. Resistance had to be offered. He had to be put in place. Musk is trying to do nothing other than Putin, claims SPD chairman Klingbeil. Many newspapers and politicians make themselves ridiculous with such statements, the article says. German politicians, journalists, and activists are constantly interfering unabashedly in the American election campaign. A few months ago, Klingbeil declared on the radio, "We want Kamala Harris in the White House." Anyone who sees this hypocrisy realizes that it's not about interference or democracy. It's about the political interests of parties and the media. The hatred of Musk largely stems from the fact that these blatant contradictions are becoming visible on X today. Lies, contradictions, and dishonesty that were previously kept secret are becoming unavoidable. The duped react with angry gaffes and requests for censorship. Just like it happened in the United States during the coronavirus debacle. I mean, you couldn't say anything about that, and you were already taken off certain platforms. You couldn't say anything about the election of 2020, and you were already taken off from platforms. The same is happening in Germany. It goes on to say, such publications must be prevented, they're talking about. Many Musk critics are not concerned with freedom of expression, or democracy, or the rule of law. It's about making certain opinions taboo and shouting down their representatives. In the end, the Musk incident is just another twitch of a dying system. Kill the messenger is the motto of many reactions to Musk, but the message cannot be killed. You see, Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, also made himself a name for his election interference, if you please, for Macron, when he campaigned for him and against Le Pen. Bild Online asked this question on December 31. He himself campaigned for Macron. Wasn't that election interference, Mr. Scholz? Of course it was. Total, utter, complete hypocrisy. And this hypocrisy was even expressed more clearly in another article, an article which was originally published by MSN on January 1, with a headline, Habeck's desire, Habeck's the Vice Chancellor of Germany, Habeck's desire for state control of opinion is totalitarianism. Now, when I clicked on the link, somebody sent it to me, it was no longer available. Unfortunately, he had also sent me the entire article, and this is what the article said. It is an absolute given, and a journalistic achievement in the world, that Musk was given the opportunity to publish his position in a commentary of Welt Online, as we just talked about. Only enemies of the free state criticize this. Now, can you imagine why this article is no longer available? The appropriate reaction in a fundamental rights state is not to criticize the publication, because this is criticism of freedom of expression itself. You react by publishing your opposing position. This is democratic discourse. Media, especially the public ones, which behave in a servile and secure manner close to the state, do not serve freedom of expression and freedom of the press. They are their antagonists. It is the lowest point of journalism when you do not take a position against an opinion with all the argumentative conviction you have, but rather when you want to deny your ideological opponents the right to express himself at all. How can one, especially as a journalist, even think of criticizing the publication of an article that does not violate any laws, but enjoys the protection of our basic law, the Constitution? That's not the only thing that distinguishes Elon Musk from the German critics. They can all express themselves freely on X more than on any other platform, a privilege that they use intensively against him, who grants it to them, but they do not want to grant this privilege to him. It is pure fear of many political and media actors, fear of Trump, of Musk, but even more of loss of power. You see, it's also the fear of the AfD in Germany, that they could have an influence, which they will have. There is no question about it. They already have it. You know, they are looking at Austria right now, where the FPÖ got the most votes, and it looks like that the leader of the FPÖ is going to be the next Austrian chancellor. Boy, Germany is in arms, thinking about something like that happening over there. And of course, they are trying to do anything they can and everything they can to stop the AfD and now to stop Musk. Because right now, Musk had an interview with the leader of the AfD, and of course, they are trying to find out, did they violate any laws, any campaign financing rules, so that they can go after them. Let me tell you, my friends, this is going to terribly backfire. They have created a storm. They have created a wildfire. And that will have terrible consequences. Because the Germans see what's going on. And the Germans have lost, many of them have lost, their confidence in politicians, in the mass media. They're looking for change. and change will come. And out of the ashes of Germany's ongoing self-inflicted destruction will rise a mighty political leader. Now this event has been prophesied thousands of years in your Bible, and it's happening now more and more, and we are closer to this event than we have ever been before. So watch Germany, also Austria, and notice what's happening there, because changes will occur, tremendous changes of wide-ranging consequences. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by the Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.